Well, good morning everyone. This is George Beiruthi giving you the overnight report, and that's for Friday the 12th of September 2014. Let me start with who we are. We are a stockbroking firm located on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia, and I intend to give you a bit more information about the company later in this presentation. Now to the disclaimer. Everything I say here is for general advice only, and before you take any action, please consult with your professional advisor or talk to us directly. A copy of this disclaimer is available to you should you wish to receive it. All you have to do is call the office. Today I continue with the iron ore editorials. This is the last part in 5, where we discussed the various effect of iron ore on companies such as BHP, Rio, Atlas Iron, Fortescue. And we also compared the production cost and how the price of iron ore can affect their bottom line results. And by the way, before we started this iron ore editorial series, we had a 13-part series on options. And if you want to learn a bit more about options and how we trade options, you can actually go to our website where these editorials are saved in the education section. And before the 13-part series on options, we had also an extensive coverage on futures contracts. Again, if you have any interest in either futures contract or options, all you have to do is go to the website and see what we have written. Okay, overnight and from around the globe, we start with Wall Street, with the broader S&P 500 ended slightly higher, but the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.1% or 20 points and finished at 17,049. The S&P 500 ended higher by just 2 points and finished at 1,997. The Nasdaq, the technology index, was up by 0.1%. In Europe, the Stockmarket 50 index that comprises several European major markets was lower by 0.2%. And in London, the FTSE 100 was down by 0.45%, and in Japan, the Nikkei was up by 0.8% to 15,909. In China, the Shanghai index was down by 0.4%, and on the commodities, gold a short time ago was trading at 1,240, that's US per ounce, and that is down $8 overnight. Silver closed this morning at $18.70. That's down 1.1% or 28 cents from this time yesterday. Crude oil this morning was at 93.1 US a barrel. That is up $1.50 from this time yesterday. Copper, the world's economic barometer, was at 309.5 cents per pound, and that is down 0.5% overnight. Iron ore, which is important for our miners such as BHP, Rio, Atlas Iron and Fortescue, was down another 0.4% at 81.9 US a ton. On the currencies, the Aussie dollar will give you 91 US cents, 97.5 Japanese yen, 70.4 euro cents and 56.05 British pence. And of course, these are intrabank rates. On our market yesterday, the benchmark ASX 200 index dropped 0.5% to 5,546. The market fell despite strong jobs data, as weaker than forecast Chinese inflation added to jitters about the tumbling value of Australia's biggest export, iron ore. And the best performers yesterday amongst the leaders, Bramble and Macquarie Bank, both were up by nearly 1.3%. And the worst performers, we have Newcrest Mines down 2%, followed by CBA and Woolworths, both down by nearly 1%. On the economic news, our market and also overseas, as you can see on the screen, going down the list, here we've got in China, we have the money supply year on year. We also have in China the new loans. Tonight in the US we have retail sales month on month, import prices month on month, and preliminary inflation expectation in the United States. All these announcements will certainly have a major effect on what happens on the market today either here or overseas. And whatever happens in overseas market, of course, will affect our market on Monday morning. We show you a chart here where we show you the volume across all our stocks here in Australia on the ASX. Now what happens here, that the market yesterday was higher than the previous 2 days, but you can see here the ratio of declines over advances. We had 2 days of major declines over the advances. So when we see higher volume and more selling, that is more declines than advances, then obviously we have an idea about the trend in the market. And you can see that after a major drop in the volume over the last 4 days, yesterday volume was higher, and as I mentioned earlier, was higher with greater declines than advances. So that wasn't really very positive for our market, and there could be many reasons for that declines. Now in terms of the various stocks that happen to have better performance than others, even though the market was down yesterday by 0.5%, we've seen a company called Medical Development International was up by 17%. It went up by 18 cents to $1.20. Cap Charge also performed very well yesterday on our market, was up 7.4%. And you can go down the list. My Net Phone Limited, of course a telecommunication company, probably a small one, up by 5%. So that really instigated the interest in finding out why the company went up by 5% yesterday. Energy Development 3%, liquefied natural gas, and so on. So this particular table is presented to our subscribers on a daily basis. In terms of companies with high volume, we see that Telstra had 32 million shares that changed hand yesterday, with 0.5% decline in the price. It down 3 cents to $5.59. Now Fortescue Mines was down by 1.5%, and you can understand why, because the iron ore prices were down. Now Myer Holdings produced their negative results. They came out with negative earnings, and of course the market punished Myer and dropped the price by 13%. So again, if you want to be informed and you want to be an effective trader, all this knowledge and all this information will help you to formulate a strategy that may have a very good possibility of returning some good income for you. Now we give you a snapshot about the companies that have the top 10 companies in the ASX 200 and the 10 worst performing. Starting from the bottom, I mentioned already Myers, then Resolute Mining down 5%, Bidell Resources down 5.4%, Arium, an iron producer, down by 5%, and you can go down that list. Monadelphous is a utility company that relies very heavily on the mining stocks, because as long as there are new projects, Monadelphous, being an engineering company, has a lot of contribution to these mining companies. While it was down by 4%, it really reflects that the mining sector is now taking a back seat, and perhaps the new project may be put on mothballs for perhaps a little while, especially when it comes to iron ore and coal. Commodities in general have actually declined over the last few weeks, and we can see why perhaps the interest in developing new projects may take a back seat. On the positive side, we're starting from the bottom. M2 Group was up 1.6%. Going up the list, TPG, a telecommunication company, was up nearly 2%. Karoon Gas, 2%. QBE Insurance, 2.5% up. Transfield Services, it continues to be on the high side. It had few declines and few ups. It's actually a very volatile company at the moment, was up by 5.3%. Cap Charge, up 7.4%. Again, what we do here is actually we try to get more information about these companies to see whether they're worthwhile trading them. We like to give you also a performance of the sectors. Going down the list as far as the sectors, there was only one sector amongst that list that performed positively yesterday. That was actually the information technology, and we've had few telecommunication companies that had positive results. And the next column, it really shows at what point that particular sector finished within the range from low to high. So here we have information technology up 0.5% and finished within the range up to 71% of the range. So it's a very, very positive performance. Now on the negative side, going down the list, we can see that gold, and we understand why, it was the worst performing sector, down 2.4%. You know, of course, gold dropped quite a bit in the last couple of days and continued to drop overnight. It was down about $8, further $8 overnight. So here we got, and by the way, it's below the 1250 for the first time in many, many months. Now, of course, that is due to a very strong US dollar, which affected not only the gold but silver and most commodities. However, crude oil, for a different reason, different fundamental reason, went up by 1.5% because perhaps of the Ukraine problems, and there was also may have been shortage in the inventories as well. Now, in terms of beyond gold, going down to that list, consumer discretionary sector was down 1.5%, and see where it dropped. It dropped at the very bottom of that sector, of that range, down to the bottom. So it really performed badly and finished at the worst possible point within the range that it traded yesterday. Continuing down the list, we've got the metal and mining around 1% down. The mid-cap also performed badly, 0.8% in the sector. So again, information that we believe is very valuable if you really want to be informed and be an aware trader or investor. Okay, to finish off, who I am. My name is George Beiruthi. I'm the director here at FS Securities. As you can see, I have many years of trading and investment experience and several qualifications to support what I offer my clients. My ambition today is to help our clients and prospective clients to become effective investors and traders. Here we are. Well, we are a stockbroking firm, as I mentioned earlier, located on the Gold Coast. We are fully licensed. We have our own ASIC license. We trade shares, options, commodities, CFDs, and foreign exchange, and offer our clients a very attractive investment of 7% interest for 1 year, interest paid monthly, or 9% over 3 years, interest paid monthly. Also, we are financial planners and cater for all your financial needs. Now, how to reach us? Well, you can call us on our landline, 61 for Australia, 7 for Queensland, 5630-4141. That's our landline number. Alternatively, you can call my mobile. I am available to receive your call 7 days a week, when I'm available, of course, when I'm not playing tennis or playing bridge, at the movies or dining. You see, I also have a life. And you can write to me at george@fssecurities.com.au, or you can actually visit our website, www.fssecurities.com, and go for our 15-day free trial, where you will see our daily recommendations, daily scans, our current trading positions, and also our results. You can see our tutorials and editorials, education webinars, and many charts and information. So why don't you register now for the 15-day free trial? And if you have anything that you would like to ask us, all you have to do is call our number. So I'll finish off by saying happy trading and have a nice day.